when dopamine gets behind pornography. So we need something more than brain chemicals to conduct our life. We'll come to that later. So this father must be told the way you are good that you are engaging the child, way you are engaging is wrong. Then we have to get the mother to. So if I was doing this, I would have sat them together and taken a long history of the child from the mother's womb. Then they begin a journey. This is how it happened, and so on. Get them to go to the beginning. And most parents are quite. You can take them to the beginning and take them through. I have a long questionnaire that I keep filling up, asking them the questions. They think it's a technical doctor stuff, but actually I am doing a spiritual scope line as things happen. Unconsciously, they go through as things happen. Did you understand that? And in the process, they begin to smile at each other, they begin to talk at each other, and she will say, when I was pregnant, one lady said, his father was very tough. I had to work in his boutique, and he was very tough all my pregnancy. I hated going to his shop, but we needed an income, so I had to go to the shop, and the child is born quite affected. You see, it's not a joke. But they are willing to take that journey because they are told there's a solution at the end of it, and it's a good solution. This child can be recovered. Even husband and wife who have been fighting about the child, denying the problem or transferring blame, they come to a reasonable, reconciled state about how they handle this child. Did you understand that? That's a long answer to a short question. That's a problem with this field. You have to engage the problem wholeheartedly. So we have to train medical people, paramedical people, caregivers and therapists who have time to give initially to two parents who didn't have time to give to their child. Understood the problem? This needs more than training. This needs more than training in the brain. This needs training in the heart. But you have to understand the brain in order to train the heart. Okay. Now we were at 7 brain tracks, the 4th track. Were we able to locate the Vince, were we able to locate the brain? Couldn't get the brain. Oh. Couldn't find it. Okay. 7 brain tracks. Now, I have made a mistake. I should have got the brain on a track, on a slide. Before that, I like to introduce these 3 books. This is a technical book on the problem of all the stakeholders involved in the ADHD issue. Who are they? Parents, child, teacher, sibling. The older sibling is very important. If you can harness a 14, 15-year-old sibling to help the 4, 5-year-old younger brother, it would be very good. And usually, boys' brain have more ADHD problems than a girl's brain. You know the scientific reason for that? Because men have more problems than women. We all know that, isn't it? Yeah. So that's the only scientific reason why boys are more affected by ADHD. But you know that autism is also a 4-to-1 male-female ratio, isn't it? Very high. There are some suggestions why it is so, not relevant for today. So this is an appeal to teachers, parents, siblings, children involved, as well as doctors and caregivers. Take one book for yourself, take another book to give away to someone who makes decision. School principal, Montessori teachers, who makes decisions, okay? This is completely written professionally with an introduction by the Dean of the Faculty of Medicine, Colombo. So Faculty of Medicine, Colombo is the most reputed institute, and its dean is a famous professor on genetics. So this is a respected book back at home. And another forward by the principal of our school who has taken this subject to classroom level. Our school has 2 teachers in every class in the primary section. The one who teaches from front and one who observes the children from the side. Did you understand that? So that they move on the disturbed child quickly when the child is trying to disturb others. So their ratio is 7 out of 35 are disturbed in a classroom. 5 can be handled in the classroom with the help of the support teacher who comes near the child's desk when the child looks bored, inattentive. But 2 are so disturbed, they have to take that child into a special support unit. And our school is providing. All schools have to think this. This is my message, because digital aberrations and abuse is a fact of life at present. No point teachers shouting at the child or at the parents. They have to say, this is part of our field now that has to be tackled in normal schools. No ADHD child should be put out of normal school. This is my considered professional status. It's part, if school is in education, this is part of a problem in primary school education. No school can avoid this problem. Correct? So I want you to take up that cry. Don't go and fight, take up that cry. Okay? Mercy is better than justice. Tell your neighbor. When the husband errs, give him justice. But when the wife errs, she gets mercy. Correct? No. Mercy is always better than justice. So don't put up a fight in justice about this. Appeal to people, your school, your neighboring school, the school to which your child goes. Give a copy of this book to that principal. This will convince them. This is written sensitively, professionally. It will work. This one is strictly for mom and dad on mistake management, crash course hour style, as you learnt it in the house. So this is quite personal to mom and dad and home. Take a copy, give another to a friend. This one is more about the children's world. The corporate targets the child more than any other field now. Corporate targeted knowledge 1970 to 1980. Corporate targeted different medical fields between 1980 and 2000. Now since 2000, child is the most hunted target of corporate advertising. Okay? So lots of digital stuff gets thrown at the child with spooky research. Lot of digital toys. Then digital addiction promotes junk food addiction. I'll come to that. How digital overstimulation affects eating styles and appetite, affects sleep. So this is a good book about what has invaded your child's world. Again, I repeat, having armed yourself with knowledge, don't go and fight. Turn to mercy. Again, tell your neighbor, turn to mercy. Yeah. Do it lifestyle. Do it appealingly. Fighting never wins a battle. Okay? Fighting kills your enemies. That doesn't mean battle was won. Turn to mercy. Okay? So 3 books for 3 different purposes. Please take one for yourself, one to give away. 7 brain tracks. We have 7 brain tracks. This primary thinking is taken from Dr. Caroline Leaf's book. I'm going to apply it to digital life. This book is printed in Malaysia and available with a bookshop called Canaan Land. Please write it down. Go there and get a copy. What switches your brain? Excellent book for anyone. I'm applying it for digital life. Okay. I need a demonstration since I don't have a slide. Will you please come, one who's seated right at the back? Yes, you in spectacles near the door. Please come. Yes, you. Yes, just to demonstrate something. No embarrassment, just to. Thank you. Will you give him a clap? You have to stay with me for some time for this. This, turn that way. This is the frontal end of the brain just behind the eyes, okay? Of course, brain is inside the skull, you can't see it. And this is the visual end of the brain, which is called the occipital lobe at the back. Now, these brain tracts go, if you may turn towards me, yes. I am more familiar with showing the left side of the brain. Brain tracts, okay? Frontal lobe, occipital lobe, little below, temporal lobe. Have you heard these names? Yes. And right at the front of the frontal lobe is called the prefrontal lobe. Prefrontal. Not difficult to understand. Frontal, prefrontal, right behind the eyes. Now these 7 tracts are neuronal connections that develop across the brain. Frontal lobe has to do with, as a reward for standing, I will send you a personal email with the description that you are missing. Okay. Yeah, thank you. Frontal lobe has to do with empathic thinking. You think for yourself, intrapersonal. Can you see that in the slide, intrapersonal? You think about yourself, and hopefully you think well about yourself. Tell your neighbor, I think well about myself. So you have developed thoughts on who you are, how you will do things. That's the first track. Next track also is largely through the frontal lobe. It's for relationships. Say with me, relationships. So it's called the interpersonal track. How you relate to others. How you think about others. Okay? Well, some of you look a little wondering. This is not difficult. You first think about yourself. If you think well about yourself, you will begin to think reasonably well about others. Can I see a head going? Okay. Conversely, if you think bad about yourself, you have already put on a pair of dark glasses that are saying, I am dark inside. So all what I see is dark outside. You get the problem? Inside, you project to your outside. Intrapersonal, how I think about myself. Interpersonal, how you develop your relationships with others. Next one is linguistic. Now getting back to my banana skin, you remember? In a well-wired normal management style, when we do something, I want to go from here to there and pick up that bottle, I will consider others. I will consider what that grand aunt is about. I will consider when to begin, when to stop. A slide is coming up. I will consider how much force is needed for this journey of 20 feet. Journey of 20 feet. From here to there to get something, you need minimal force. Start slow, journey is short, end soon. But when you are digitally overwired, you start violently, you never know when you have to stop, you screech to a halt. Have you seen children screech to a halt? Understood the problem? Yeah. And in the process, they don't consider others, they consider only power. Because Ben 10 is powerful. And in cartoons, the hero has good violence to kill the bad fellow with good violence. Bad fellow has bad violence, hero has good violence. Is that true? I mean, is that true for life? No. All violence is bad. All violence is bad. You get the point? But the children are learning differently. There's a thing called